Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to be playing with some new drugstore makeup. Alright, so I have my bag of products here. Let's dive in. I do want to moisturize my face. I'm going to use some of my Fourth Ray The Daily Moisturizer. If you haven't seen where I actually did the haul of these products and some other ones, including this headband, I will link that video for you up above and down below. It smells like oranges, but not real oranges, like fake candy orange. Oh, it's the weirdest. It's not bad, but I wish I could pinpoint it exactly what it smells like. So this is one of the things I hauled. It's really pretty. It's a little tight though, but maybe it'll stretch out a little bit. This is actually the third time I'm going to be trying these products. I have been taking notes the past 2 times that I have worn these products so that I can give you a more in-depth review versus just like a first impressions. So we are going to start with the e.l.f. Mint Melt Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette, and this is in the shade Meant to Be. I'm a stickler for eyeshadow primer, and as you know, I usually use my Milani eyeshadow primer, but with this, because I am going in with this pastel shade, I have found that it actually benefits to have some type of base down that has color to it, that actually cancels out my redness and my veins, and that is kind of brightening. So I have been using this Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade Cool Ivory 01, which I believe is a new shade because I had never seen this shade before. And now I normally say, like, I don't like to use concealers as eyeshadow primers, but honestly, this is one that I don't feel is super drying. It's a little drying because it is a concealer, but I feel like it does the job well enough, and I do need that coverage and that base to make the eyeshadow pop. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply some of this to my eyelids, and the key is not too much, and I just take that dab and really spread it around and make it work for me. And then I kind of take my other finger that has no product and use that to blend in, because that also allows me to pick up some of that excess product that I don't need. Alright, so there we have it. That's just giving me a little bit of coverage. So now I'm going to take a flat shader brush. I'm going to go in with this shade right here. I'm going to put that all over the lid as well as into the crease. And again, instead of swiping, I am packing it onto that slightly tacky base that we have now from the concealer. For me, I have found that if I want this richer color, even though it's pastel, it does take a couple of layers of me packing the product onto the lid. Like, I don't get the full effect from just one layer of the eyeshadow. See, like 1 and then 2. So it does take a little bit of building. In my notes, I stated that this shade definitely needs a good base to go down on in order to have the color that you want. So there, yeah, definitely a lot better. And then this shade I really like because even though it looks gray, it actually has somewhat of a green undertone to it. So I like taking that and using that to build up the crease a little bit, or excuse me, the outer corner, and then blending that into the crease just a little bit. So it does sheer out, but I actually like that it's not like a straight cool tone gray. It's actually got that green undertone to it. And I'm going to take a fluffy brush, dip back into that mint green color, and just take that into the crease and blend this out. Alright, when it comes to the shimmer shades, you would think that this shade would be pretty pigmented, but honestly, in comparing the two, the green is more of a topper. I think it's very sheer. The silvery green is very good as far as pigment, but either way, whichever one you're using, I do recommend using a glitter glue because you are going to have quite a bit of fallout from the eyeshadows if you don't. So I am going to grab my NYX glitter glue, apply some of that, and let's go with the green because we'll use the other color in the crease. not the crease, the outer corner. Man, I'm having a time today. Now look how much more, oh yes, you definitely want a glitter glue. If you don't put a glitter glue down, you're not going to get this much pigment from this green shade. So for me, this palette, the mint green is good, but I wish it had a little bit more oomph to it as far as pigment is concerned. The gray is nice, it does sheer out, but I also do appreciate that it has that green undertone. This color, you definitely want a glitter glue if you want it to pop a little bit more. Otherwise it's going to be a lot more sheer, much more like a topper. If you use a glitter glue, you're going to get a lot more payoff. And then this color, it does really good on its own. However, I think in considering fallout, you're also going to want to use a glitter glue for that shade as well. So again, that is the e.l.f. meant to be bite-size eyeshadow palette. Okay, my headband is already sliding off my head. I knew it would though. I have such a big head. Why don't they just make these just a little bit bigger for people who have big heads like me? Moving on to brows, we are going to play with the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. I got mine in the shade Ash Brown. Let's see what this says. Micro brush tip delivers precise hair-like strokes to fill and define brows. Shake the pen at a downward angle. Fill in sparse areas with precise hair-like strokes and add definition to other brow areas. Okay, so now that it's saying that, I do understand the claims on this, because as I have been using it, I did note, before I read this, I hadn't even read this till now, I noted good for filling in details. See, good for adding small details. So if you look at my brows, especially like in this area past the arch, I do have some sparse areas because I accidentally microbladed that section of my brows by accident. So I have been really enjoying this for going in and filling in those little hair-like, let me just show you. All right, so here's my brow. I'm going to focus on this section right down here. And this does have a little bit of a learning curve because you don't want to take the strokes too far outside of the brow hairs. So there's that. Now let me show you with a spoolie. Brush that out a little bit and distribute it. It definitely looks a lot more natural. However, we need to go in and fill in right there. Okay, so now you're thinking, well, what about the front of your brow? For me, I don't feel like this is the product you want for the front of your brows because it's going to take forever to fill in, and I would much rather just go in with a traditional brow pencil like this Wet n Wild retractable. Also, this is in ash brown. And I'm just going to take this and fill in where I need color, but I have enough hair to where I don't need to do those very precise hair-like strokes in the front of my brow. Voila, my brow looks so much fuller having been able to do those very small hair-like strokes in the sections where I am missing a hair from where I accidentally microbladed it. I really like this for that detail work, getting into that arch area where I am missing a lot of my brow hairs. I think it's perfect. I think it's a very good product in combination with a traditional brow pencil to fill in the front of my brow, specifically because I do have enough hair in the front that I don't need to create that fake hair-like look, but I absolutely need it on this outer edge. So I feel like this is a dynamic duo and will be going in my everyday makeup drawer. However, like I said, it's not the only downside is it's not a one-stop product. Like, I think it's going to take too long and use too much product to use this specifically just in your eyebrows alone. And also, I just wish it had a spoolie. Like, we have this whole end. Like, I just think eyebrow products should be required to have a spoolie, because otherwise you gotta go digging for one and all of that mess. But other than that, I think this is great for adding small details, filling in the missing hair. It is not a one-stop product, and I wish it had a spoolie. Now we're gonna go ahead and do mascara. So I am going to curl my lashes. I got really lazy for a long time and did not curl my lashes, and now having started doing that again, I really can tell a difference, and it's definitely a step that I need to take for my lashes in order for them to look the best that they possibly can. Alright, now I know it's hard to see because my eyelashes are so blonde. Well, it's probably impossible to see, but I swear they're curled. They really are curled. So for mascara, we are going to dive into the e.l.f. Lash It Loud Volumizing Mascara in black. volume that hits all the high notes. This formula's intensely rich pigments easily coat lashes for a bigger and bolder look. The sleek, flexible wand hugs every single lash with both vertical and horizontal bristles to amplify, define, and add dimension. Okay. So, like I said, this is my third time using this. Here is what the wand looks like. It is plastic bristles, which reminds me a lot. Yeah, it reminds me of the NYX So Fierce. The shape is a little bit different, but they both have those short rubbery bristles. Alright, so it says to go from root to tip. So here we go. Again, my lashes are curled. So you can see there's the curl on my lash. Okay. Yeah, I totally stabbed myself, but here are my lashes. So, in having used this a couple times, I definitely think it gives my lashes length. My only issue is that it comes out extremely wet. Like, you really need to watch how much product is coming off in these bristles, because when you go to put it in your lash, you're going to get a lot of product, which may cause like clumping, which may not be your desired effect. Also, aside from it being wet, I feel as though it weighs down my lashes and I lose curl. So here's what my lashes look like right now. And the reason we're doing this now in the steps is because I want to see by the end of doing my full face if it has lost curl again. So it gives great length, loses curl, and it comes out extremely wet. So I don't have any new primers or any new face products as far as foundations or anything like that. So I'm gonna quickly do my base and I'll be right back. Okay, so before I go into foundation, I did throw on some primer. I used my L'Oreal Visible Lift Luminous Serum Tint in the shade 801 Pearl. So I think I've mentioned this in a video prior to this, that I have been enjoying doing my concealer before my foundation. So for concealer today, we're going to be trying out the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. I have mine in the shade Fair 10C with cool pink undertones. So this says, luminosity is a click away. Create a brightened, flawless complexion with a flick of a pen. Use this buildable brightening concealer to highlight all over your face. This luxurious but lightweight formula brightens and highlights your key features infused with hyaluronic acid and vitamin C. This formula works to conceal uneven skin tones. Shake well while pointing the tip down. Work with the concealer. Apply to the desired areas. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So, in my notes, I stated that the last 2 times that I have used it, I do actually agree with the claim that it is brightening. It is not a full coverage concealer. It is not something that is going to, it's not something that's going to cover blemishes or anything like that. It is brightening. And so in noting that, it reminded me of the Becca Brightening Under Eye Brightening Corrector, and I have mine in the shade light to medium. So I actually want to use these on either side to compare them, because I did write down in my notes, is this a Becca Dupe with a question mark? So on this side, we're going to go in with the e.l.f. And like I said, this is my 3rd time using it. So I'm going to click a little bit of this up. I'm going to put it in this inner corner here. And then take some on this outer corner. Okay. And then, what did I do last time? I think I went in with a sponge that I sprayed with a little bit of Catrice Dewy Glowy Fixing Spray. Had to finally get a new bottle from Amazon. I was completely out. Alright, so let's go ahead and blend this in. And it doesn't really take much to work this in, honestly. So as you can see, compared to this side, it definitely has brightened. I see still a little bit of purple, so let's see if we can build that up just a little bit. I'm just going to tap it in with my finger. It definitely has brightened and taken away some of that purple under my eyes. But now let's go in with the Becca under eye brightener. Okay. Oh, let me get a mirror here. I'm going to put some there and down. This definitely has a little bit more of a peachy tone than my shade of the e.l.f. Okay, so there is the Becca. Alright, I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but honestly, the e.l.f. side looks brighter than the Becca side. The Becca side looks more oily, more dewy, but the e.l.f. side actually looks brighter. Let's see if we can build up the Becca side a little bit. Yeah. I mean, to me, it seems that the purple on this side has been highlighted more so than the purple on this side. This side looks more glossy, whereas this side actually looks more matte and more brightened. Kind of shocked by that. And this is only $4 or $5. However, in the Becca, well, it doesn't. Okay, in the Becca, you get 0.08 ounces, and in the e.l.f. you get 0.07. So even though it doesn't look like it, you're getting almost the same amount of product. So that may be the best discovery yet, quite honestly. Like I said, it's not a, how do I say it? It's a brightening concealer. It's not going to do a lot for like blemishes and everything, but definitely for my under eyes, for like a natural, no makeup look, that would work on a daily basis. Alright, so for foundation, I'm going to go in with my Flower Get Real Serum Foundation in the shade Porcelain L1. I have not used this in a hot minute, so let's just go in with some of this. Alright, those two products look really nice together. This foundation and that concealer. They're both very lightweight and kind of luminous looking. Yeah, I definitely like how the e.l.f. side looks better than the Becca side. How about that? Alright, so for blush, we are going to try the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush, and this is in the shade Blushing Berry. This is not going to match my eye look at all, but it's alright. Okay, so in my notes, I stated that I have tried this with a finger or a sponge, and I honestly think it works fine either way. I definitely think whether you apply it with your finger or your sponge, you're going to want to go in with whatever sponge you use to put on your foundation to kind of blend over it to kind of melt it into the skin afterwards. So here, I'll just show you. Alright, so taking a sponge, I'm going to kind of go into it, tap a little bit off on my hand. And we're just going to tap it on lightly. And then I just go in with the sponge that I had for my foundation. And just press that in and see how nicely that shears it out. It's really nice. Like, you think it's going to be a lot when you first put it on, but it actually shears out very nicely. We got some work to do now. Whoopsie. Okay, so note to self, you can go overboard. My bad. Got that evened out pretty well. So the moral of the story is one of these is going to last you a long time. Like, I barely wiped the surface of this, and we were able to really build it up, shear it out, and then build it back up to the desired amount that I wanted. So I actually really like this. I think this is a really nice product. Okay, I'm going to powder and bronze really quick. For powder, I'm going to use some of my number 7 Lift and Illuminate. Shoot, I don't like it now that I said it. I wonder if I should have left it a little tacky. And then for bronzer, I'm going to go in with my ColourPop Coconut Beach. Now for highlighter. Is this the last new thing we have? Yeah. So this is the last new thing to test. I finally picked up one of the e.l.f. bite-sized duos. This is in the shade Cantaloupe. Now, I'm not using this blush today, but that's a really pretty orangey tangerine blush. So here's what those look like, and there's the highlight. So we are going to go ahead and use the highlight today. I honestly feel like it's a really good pigmented highlighter. It's not too much. Actually, let me show you what I have been thinking. So I actually have the e.l.f. Glow Gleam Beam palette as well. Mine is in the shade Light. If you have this palette, you'll know that like these highlights at the top, okay, this is pure glitter. I don't even understand the purpose of that shade, to be quite honest. These top two highlights are much more subtle, much more like lit from within. These bottom ones are much more metallic-y. So let me swatch these for you. So we have this much more natural and then this much more metallic-y pow. In my opinion, I feel that the highlight in this Bite Size Duo is almost the middle ground of these two. So do you see what I mean? Here's that Bite Size Duo one. It's not quite as light as this one, not quite as subdued. It's got just a little bit more sheen to it like the metallic, but it's not quite as powerful as the metallic. So to me, it's almost like the middle range of these e.l.f. highlights. So let me go ahead and grab my highlight brush. I actually really like this. I think it's really pretty. That really pretty shift of highlight. I really like this. That's a really nice highlight. Like I said, I feel like it's the middle ground between the highlights and this e.l.f. Glow Gleam Beam palette. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up the lower eyes, lower lash line, whatever. Because we're also going to test this on the lower lashes and see about transfer and all that. So before we go in, let's take a look at my lashes. Definitely there is some transfer. I don't know if you can see, but right at the base of my lashes, it transferred onto my lids. I feel like I definitely did lose a little bit of curl. Nothing crazy, but I feel like they dropped a little bit. So let me also go ahead and spray my face. All right. So I wanted to take a little bit of this gray color toward the outer edge of my eyelid. And then underneath that, I'm going to take the light green color. And then for the inner corner, we are going to take that lightest shimmer shade in the palette. I think it needs wet. You need to wet it because otherwise it's just going to be chunky, fall out. All right, now let's do the lower lashes. Throw on a lip and we will. All right, so here is the finished look. I'm noticing that something weird is happening right here. Yeah, you can see it now. Right there on my cheek. I don't know what that is, and I tried to go over it with my sponge, and it's almost picking up the product. So I don't know exactly what happened there. As far as the products, I like the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pencil, great for detailed work. The Bite Size Duo, I think the blush is really pretty. It reminds me of a blush from Anastasia Beverly Hills, ABH, and the highlighter is beautiful. I think that's a really, really nice highlighter, and they have a lot of shades to select from. So I believe that there should be something for every skin tone, especially people with darker skin tones. They have some darker, warmer colors, so that might be an option for you. The eyeshadow palette, it's cute. I think if you want just like a moment of pastel and you don't want to spend the full $12 on like a palette from ColourPop, this will do you. Do I think it's the absolute best? No. Do I think it's horrible? No, not by any means. That inner corner highlight color is beautiful. It's very mermaidy, pastel-y. The e.l.f. brightener, yeah, I think that might be a really good dupe for the Becca brightener. It's less glossy and definitely brightening for sure. The Milani blush is really pretty. I don't know if that's what's causing this lift because from here back and this entire cheek looks fine, so I'm not exactly sure what happened in this spot right here. Unless it was the powder, but I used the powder all over, so I think this is just a fluke, a weird what's that called? Anomaly happening. The mascara, it looks really good on my bottom lash line. Aside from the transfer on the top lashes, or excuse me, the top eyelids, as well as losing some of my curl, it's honestly not bad. It's pretty good drugstore mascara. I am curious though to see if I have any transfer, so if I do, I'll let you know in the description box below. Was that everything? yeah, so thank you for watching this video, testing some new drugstore makeup. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.